Hi guys, and welcome to the 2017-18 season predictions. So last season we did manage to get all 4 division winners correct, which was fantastic and great for some of our followers as well, who probably made plenty of money on that as well. Let's see if we can do the same again today. So let's quickly skim through the leagues. Let's start with League 2. So the contenders for me are Chesterfield, who have recruited very well in the summer. Caldwell now has been there for a while, following their relegation from League One, and has brought in some key additions, including Chris O'Grady, who I think is going to be an excellent addition at that level. He certainly brings other people into play, and I just think with the other additions that Chesterfield have made, and Caldwell's know-how to get teams promoted, now he's had time to settle into there, should have them involved at the top of the table. The other team probably going to be involved are Luton Town. Already very strong from last season, unfortunately had disappointments in losing the playoffs. Again, they recruited very well this summer, adding to already a strong team. They have lost a couple of players, but again, I think they've recruited well, and again, will be involved at the top end of the table. Another one of the relegated teams are Swindon, and they've done a massive rebuilding job in the summer. They've lost quite a few players, but again brought in quite some key additions, and I expect them again to be involved once the new players are bedded in, to be involved in that top 7 push for next season. A team that probably a lot of people have been talking about recently, and quite rightly are one of the favourites, are Mansfield. Now, Steve Evans' know-how of getting promotion is probably unrivalled in the lower leagues. He certainly managed to get Rotherham United and Crawley Town promoted on several occasions, and I expect Steve Evans' Mansfield team again to be there or thereabouts. Again, brought in some good players over the summer, and they do look a lot stronger than last season. The last team I think will probably be involved as well are Notts County. Again, strong end to last season, and they're probably going to follow that up. Nolan's now had quite a while in charge to understand what's needed at that level, and I think with their experienced strikers there with Amiobi, they'll have enough firepower there to get them involved at the top of the table. But for me, I think Chesterfield will just edge this one and will run out as league winners. Moving on to League 1. Right, so looking in here, we've got one of the relegated teams, Blackburn Rovers. Now, they've lost a couple of good players over the summer, in Mahoney and Steele, but they have actually signed some quality players for League 1 level. Players such as Whittingham and Gladwin and Smallwood will strengthen Blackburn's midfield. With the goals of Danny Graham, I expect them to be at the right end of the table. A team that probably people won't expect to be at the top end, but I do, are Wimbledon. I think they've recruited very, very well over the summer. I think we saw shades last season under Neil Ardley of them improving year on year since they got promoted to League 1. And I think they will be there or thereabouts again, pushing around that top 7. So Wimbledon could be a bit of a surprise package for a few, but I think they're going to do really well. Charlton, again, they finished quite strong at the end of last season, and with Ricky Holmes, they have one of the best players, if not the best player in the league, and I just think with him being the talisman, and Robinson now, Carl Robinson being there again, he's had time to assess his squad. He's brought in a couple of new players, let quite a few go as well. I just think with their form of end of last season, they'll be there or thereabouts. Another team I think will do a lot better than they did last season is MK Dons, which is obviously Robinson's old team. Now, again, they've made some really good key additions to their team, some very high profile signings as well for that level, and again, I think they'll be challenging at the right end of the table. Now, another team who I would have really strongly fancied, and still do in a way, is Oxford United. Now, they've lost a couple of players, but again, I think they've made some really good signings. The one sticking point for me is if Appleton was still there as manager and not gone to Leicester as the new assistant, I would strongly fancy them. But They've got a bit of an unknown as manager there as Clotet, who came from Leeds. I think he was Monk's ex-assistant. So a little bit of question marks over him. But again, they've made some good signings and we're already looking strong. The final team who I'm thinking will be involved at the top end of League One are Portsmouth. Probably no surprise to most people, and I think most people will probably predict them to get promoted again. Obviously, big team already down there, and they had a very strong-looking squad in League Two. Now, I think their players will probably be more suited to playing in League One, so I can only see them getting stronger. Now they've added the goals of Brett Pittman as well. I think that was a very shrewd signing, and yes, I expect Portsmouth to be involved at the top end of the table next season. But I'm going to go with Blackburn Rovers to win the league. Probably not unexpected to most people out there. I just think the quality additions they've got in that midfield area and Danny Graham's goals, and Tony Mowbray's a very good manager. I just think they'll have enough there to win the league. Now moving on to the Championship. Now this is one that I think it could be the most hotly contested Championship division promotion next season. Now the teams I am looking at are first of all is Aston Villa. Tremendous appointments in Steve Bruce last season. I think he's obviously had to take a lot of time to try and move out quite a lot of the dead wood, try and get that losing mentality out of their systems. They've been a team on the decline for quite a while now, but I think he's done that. The team screams goals with Codger and Hogan up front. Should get plenty in there. John Terry obviously is the big name signing at the back. His experience should be fantastic at that level. Obviously, his legs aren't quite what they were, but his organisation skills, etc., and also the fact I think he'll chip in quite a lot of goals from set pieces means I think Villa will be doing a lot better this season and will certainly finish in the top six. The next team are Sheffield Wednesday, who have been involved now for the playoffs for the last 2 seasons. Unfortunately, they've lost in both. Again, not really many additions to their team, but people probably think they might not need too much, especially in attacking areas. They've got a very strong attack with multiple options, probably too many strikers really, but within there they should get goals from people like Jordan Rhodes, Gary Hooper, Forestieri, for example. They've brought in Boyd as well from Burnley, which I think is a shrewd signing. Unfortunately, I think they're still very much lacking in the defensive areas, especially cover at centre half. I think they were quite lucky last season that they didn't get more injuries in the defensive areas because they were already quite thin, looking a lot thinner this season. So that's my only worry for Sheffield Wednesday really. The next team we're looking at are Fulham, which again I don't think is a surprise to many people. They had a massive end to last season, tremendous run, a lot of people's favourites to win the playoffs, but they did come unstuck at Reading. But I'm expecting them to carry on where they left off, again be challenging in the top six. Jukanovic is a quality manager, and again that team just full of goals. Again maybe just tighten up a little bit defensively, but yeah, I'm expecting them to be there or thereabouts. Now the last team who I strongly fancy are Hull City. Now the only thing that's putting me off there is they've had a high turnover of players. A lot of players left, a lot of players have come in. Now it's how that sort of beds in really as the season starts. But I still think they've got enough quality within their team to launch a promotion push, especially with Abel Hernandez as well, who I expect to score a sack full of goals again at this level as he did last time. Probably one of those players who's too good for the Championship but never quite seems good enough for the Premier League. But yeah, I expect Hull City to be thereabouts. Now, the team who I think will win it are Middlesbrough. Now, again, probably not a surprise to most. Their team and their strike force now just screams goals to me. Assombalonga certainly was a fantastic signing. I think a few people are a little bit worried about his injury record, but towards the end of last season he was going back in the Forest team after injury and played quite a few games. So, hopefully if they keep him fit, he should get them the goals that they need to stay up. Already quite a strong team, very defensively strong, like they were last time they got promoted. It's a recipe for success. Keep the goals out, score plenty going the other way. So my tip for the Championship will be Middlesbrough this season. Now the Premier League, again, it's usually the same old faces at the top of the table, and I think it'll be the same 4 again. Who'll finish in the top 4. I'm expecting Man City to have a slightly better season this year. attacking wise, for me, they're the best in the league. They've got so many different options now. With Jesus, Sane, Aguero, Silva, Bernardo Silva. They've got so many attacking options. De Bruyne as well. They should score plenty of goals. However, defensively, I still don't think they've got that right. They've signed, obviously, Walker, Mendy. Again, fantastic fullbacks going forward, but defensively, I'm not quite sure about either, if I'm honest. Add to that a weak-looking centre-half partnership of Otamendi and Stones as well. I'm not quite sure whether the company will ever get back to the levels that it was after all the injuries he's had. That's just my worry really with City. They'll score plenty, but I still think they'll concede plenty as well. So yeah, it could cancel each other out, unfortunately. Now, last season champions, Chelsea. Massive blow with Eden Hazard's injuries. He's going to miss the early part of the season, and I think for them that's their talisman really out of the team. He was back to his best last season, and was a large part of why they won the title. Also, the loss. Well, he's still not gone yet, as of speaking. Diego Costa. Now, Diego Costa, I think his goals can be replaced by Morata and Batshuayi. Certainly, I don't think he's the best goal scorer in the world, and I've always been of the opinion there are better finishers than him. However, the way that Chelsea play and the way their style is and how they adopt is very much suited to Diego Costa. And I'm just wondering, losing that dynamic out of the team, will they still be able to play in the same style that they did last season? I'm not so sure whether Morata and Batshuayi again will be those strikers. I know Conte has sort of experimented with a two up front in pre-season a couple of times, so whether there's a little bit of formation change, I'm not quite sure. Matic as well could be leaving the club. I just don't think Chelsea quite ready for the new season, if I'm honest, but they could come on stronger as the season goes on. The last team I think will be involved in the top four will be Spurs. Again, very strong. Just the loss of Walker really during the summer. Not really signed anyone, but I think we saw at the end of last season Kieran Trippier was starting to become the first choice right back anyway at Spurs. So don't believe Walker's departure will be much of a loss to them. Again, with Kane and Ali and Eriksen, that triangle in there is going to get them plenty of goals and plenty of assists. And again, very strong defence with Alderweireld, Dyer and Lloris back there. They're going to be looking very, very strong indeed. My only worry is Wembley, just playing at home, which is not really a home. They struggled there last season in Europe, but yeah, that's my only really worry for them. And the final team, the team who I think will win the league, is Manchester United this season. I think Jose's had a season there. I think we saw flashes towards the end of the season of him starting to implement his style of play on the team. We sort of started to see Pogba perform a little bit better. Rashford was getting in the team and getting goals. And yeah, I just think Mkhitaryan, another season for him, Martial. I just think they've got a lot of attacking options. Add to that now with Lukaku. I think he's just going to add that final piece of the jigsaw. He'll get them 25, 30 goals next season in all competitions. And as I say, I think with the maturity now of Martial and Rashford, Mkhitaryan in there and Pogba just behind, I think they'll get plenty of goals. If the sign of Matic comes off as well, he adds great strength into their midfield. And defensively last season they were very strong anyway and didn't concede many goals. So yes, so my predictions for next season will be League 2 for Chesterfield, League 1 Blackburn Rovers, the Championship Middlesbrough, and the Premier League Manchester United. As I say, let's see how we get on. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.